All right, well, we're getting better at starting on time, kind of. We're only 13 minutes behind today.
Yeah, it's all good.
Behind the start time that we moved back.
Right.
Hello, everybody. Episode 105 of the HooperCast coming at you. Hi, Dustin.
Hi, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. Got a tall iced coffee. I don't have any salad today. I don't have a food fight, so I forfeit.
Me neither. Me neither. I have nothing. It's a
Never
draw.
mind. I take it back. I don't forfeit. We're still even.
Yes, it's a draw.
Yeah, no one loses.
And how are you guys out there listening to us?
Very good.
Okay.
Okay.
Glad to hear it.
My house burned down. All right.
Glad. I'm so happy for
All
you.
right. Well, we got a pretty packed show on the HooperCast today, and we're going to try to get through as entertainingly and as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
Dustin, I'm going to pull an audible with the list I sent you.
Okay.
I want to talk. Well, damn it. No, never mind. Screw that. All right. Let's talk about what the movie you saw first, because that's probably the most relevant
Okay.
thing.
So I saw Spectre, the latest of the James Bond films.
Yeah.
And I tried to write a review for this so that I could be prepared, but I did not. I just couldn't get my thoughts together, and I just kept thinking, you know what, I will wing it.
I bet everyone appreciates how much we talk about almost preparing. Like, we talk about all the stuff we had plans for. It's kind of like when you tell a person, like, I was going to come, but, you know, I was going to, show up to the party.
But nah.
Not anymore. Or I was going to get you this, but, it was really expensive.
But I decided to buy you something from the dollar store.
Yeah. I was going to buy you a MacBook Air, but then I just decided a $5 gift card to Target was probably more apt. So
yeah, I figured you could buy yourself one of those, but you can't buy yourself a Target gift card.
What?
Well, you wouldn't.
What?
Huh?
What'd you say?
I don't know. What did you say?
No. I guess you could buy it for yourself. If you if you had really low self-esteem, like you wake up, like you
does that,
you buy it, you consume heavy amounts of alcohol, you wake up like, oh, someone loves me.
But only $5 worth. Oh.
Yeah. What a cheap bastard, whoever that is. Looks like their handwriting.
No. There are people that buy themselves gift cards.
That would make sense to me. Well, it doesn't make sense. It would make sense that they exist, not the prospect.
Yeah,
of
well,
itself.
I mean, I don't know why you would, but I guess I don't know why you wouldn't. But yeah, I saw someone at Moe's the other day. They were buying gift cards, and they had a special. It was like buy, I don't know, like $25 in gift cards and get $5 free or whatever. And they were like, yeah, let me have one of those gift cards, a $25 gift card, so I can get the $5 free. And then they're like, okay. And then she goes, it's for me. It's for myself. And I was like, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea, because she just got $5, and you're going to spend $25 at Moe's eventually. Mm-hmm. You might as well just go ahead and do it right now.
Go ahead and buy
have
that
some
fifth
free
beer.
Meals. Exactly.
I mean, yeah, food.
Sure, yeah, food. Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's Spectre.
Yeah, okay, sorry, yeah. So, Spectre, yes, the 24th James Bond film. Still crazy to say 24, because that is a lot of movies.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, man. So Spectre came out a few weeks ago, towards the beginning of November, and I had plans. I thought, well, here's what I'll do. I will rewatch the old ones, or all the Daniel Craig ones, and I'll watch them with my girlfriend, and we'll go see it together. Mm-hmm. But I kind of it's not that I changed my mind. It's that I guess I kind of did. I was just like, you know what? It's really not that super important. And we just never got around to it. So she, having never seen a Daniel Craig movie, James Bond movie, is not super, into seeing it now. And I wasn't super into sitting down and watching 4 movies or 3 movies. So anyway, that never happened. But I did end up going and seeing Spectre. It just took me a little longer than I thought. And I saw it with my brother, and we both enjoyed it. But here's like the little like caveat. So, well, you know what? Let me back up. Let me do a synopsis. I should have prepared something.
Hold on, Dustin. I've been surprised by something.
Early Christmas present.
Oh, snap.
That's part of his Christmas.
He can't hear. Do you want to hear him?
No.
Okay, well, all right. Dustin, then just don't plan on your voice being heard.
Okay.
Ready? Smell him.
Okay, that's... I don't know what that was. It made me cough.
All right, fine. Here. There is part one of your Christmas present.
Ooh.
I didn't know they had those there.
Ooh. This is,
Look at it.
Wow. Dustin, it's one of those soaps. Well, you probably know, but it's one of those bars of soap that's like all natural, and so it looks like I don't even know. It looks like honestly, you know what? I have a piece of a rock on my desk, like one of those like you know where you slice them on the side and you show it sees all the pattern inside. It seriously looks just like it, just cut into a cube.
But it's all natural, so it's
hopefully
legit.
I don't try to wash my undercarriage with a rock. Like, I can't wait to feel all clean. Ah! Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome.
I can't wait to use this quite sparingly.
Get another one.
Oh, it smells good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you.
That was part of your present.
Come here. All right, Dustin.
Y'all are cute.
All right, so when I do the time code, I'm just going to start I'm going to start the Spectre discussion at this exact moment. So,
Oh, okay.
That means I won't be there.
no, you'll be there.
Oh no.
Yes. People will see that you're kind and give your husband gifts. Trust me, you want them to see the highlight reel, Tara. You don't want them to see the whole picture or assume the worst. What's a macaroon?
Deliciousness.
Okay, what is it?
Coconut, cocoa.
Is it chocolate or is it
Yes.
predominantly coconut? They look like brownies.
They look like brownies. Kind of taste like brownies, but brownies made out of mostly coconut.
This is amazing pod.
It is.
All right, the rest is for Thanksgiving.
All right, Dustin, talk about Spectre. I'm going to eat a macaroon.
All right, I'll start over.
I've never had macaroon. So this is the 24th Bond film.
Right. This is the 24th Bond film, which is crazy to say because that is a lot of movies. So Spectre opened a few weeks ago. I saw it with my brother, and we both enjoyed it. But let me start with sort of a synopsis here. So James has received a cryptic message from M, who we know, the Judi Dench M from Skyfall, has kicked the bucket. Mm-hmm. So this is a posthumous, video message to Bond. And basically she gives him a name and says, go kill this man, and then go to his funeral. And so Bond does this. What this does was it leads him on a chase, literally around the world, to all these various exciting locations, all putting pieces together of this, mystery, I guess, of this organization called Spectre. Spectre, as it turns out, is behind pretty much every event that has happened in a Daniel Craig James Bond film. And it's all led by a person that Bond is just now encountering. So the film is about Bond's, discovery of Spectre, investigation of Spectre, and pursuit of this, leader figure. All while the intelligence organization that he works for, MI6, is going through massive changes. Andrew Scott, who you know from Sherlock as Moriarty, has showed up and is a character named C in the film, in keeping with the one-letter initial names. And so C is dead set on a new investigation program. This program basically... it's a lot like the Winter Soldier, the program that Hydra has initiated, in that it's always monitoring everybody all the time. Although Hydra went the extra step and said, let's just go ahead and kill some people.
I thought you meant like a super soldier serum. Like,
oh, no, that would be
like
legit.
The Winter Soldier.
No. I meant the movie The Winter Soldier, not the character.
Okay. That makes a little more
sorry,
sense.
I should have specified. And yeah, so basically, this new thing would render the 00 program obsolete and also shut it down completely. So obviously, M, who is the new M, Ray Fiennes, who is very much still on board with the 00 program, is now at odds with his own government in that regard. So there's a few different levels of things that's happening here. But by and large, this is another film where Daniel Craig is acting off the books, not on any mission from MI6, and investigating things on his own. So here's what I'll say in the review. I enjoyed it, but I have some major problems with it. Here's why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because there are a few callbacks to some really great Bond moments that will make you smile, like things that we've seen throughout the ages. It's almost like a James Bond greatest hits album at various points in this film. So you get some cool moments. I do enjoy seeing Daniel Craig. I do enjoy his interpretation of the character, so I enjoy that. But I think probably the main reason why I like it is just because I like James Bond movies. Although I will say I have some major problems with this film. The first half works really hard at a mystery, which is never really intriguing. The first half of this film works very desperately to get you to understand that the events from Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and this film are all connected, but it's a way of lazily building a world because they never felt connected. Right. So now to tell me after the fact that they are connected, that Le Chiffre was working for the same guy as Silva, doesn't add up to me. And you have to go the extra mile as a screenwriter, as a storyteller, to make me buy it. But then because you've gone the extra mile, it just feels like you're just spoon-feeding me exposition that isn't true.
Well, wait, so that doesn't... And it also makes it seem... It's less interesting to me that one... Like, in this kind of movie, it's less interesting to me that one organization essentially has it out for James Bond, or you know what I mean, like, or they're connected because he always shows up with these schemes they're trying to be behind, and
exactly.
It seems like an ill-conceived attempt to make them seem imposing or dangerous.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
You could have accomplished that without having to do that.
No, they could have done the exact same story, where it's just Spectre versus James Bond, and these people are just super dangerous and very evil. It doesn't have to have anything to do with the other films. So in that regard, it's kind of like this is the flip side of what I was talking about with the James Bond greatest hits, where you have some cool moments, but then you have moments that calls back to other films that it just feels lazy and shoehorned and kind of off-putting. And anytime this film is steeped in nostalgia. Everything from locations to, like, you know, just little references. It's just completely steeped in it. So if you know the James Bond series, you're going to be like, oh, that's from this, that's from that, that's from this. And all of these moments can be one of two things, either really cool or really off-putting, but it's an extreme pretty much in either direction. And so... that I have to say that, you know, in that regard, it's a detriment to it. And yeah, while I enjoy seeing references to Casino Royale, which is still my favorite of the Daniel Craig movies, I don't particularly care that it has much to do with, you know, Skyfall. And then, you know, it's just sort of lazy storytelling, I think, to expositionally give me all of this and expect me to buy into it when it never felt like I never left Skyfall saying, hey, I wonder if Silva works for the same guy that Le Chiffre works for. Like that was never a thought in my head. So why it is now, just doesn't flow very well. It's not like the Marvel movies where Hydra is sort of a villain that maybe it's because Hydra was revealed earlier. I don't know, but nevertheless, if they kept people from Hydra going on, it would be fine. This agent is actually a Hydra agent. This person is actually working for Hydra. That works for me. Spectre's a negative, I guess. Then you've got, there's a few moments that I felt like were out of character or didn't make sense. And I won't go into them because it would be spoiler territory, and I don't really want to spoil the movie in this review. There's a moment where, in a James Bond movie, Bond typically, is with several women, and it's true. It's true here too, but one of them in this feels a little wrong to me. And like, okay, there's a female on set. Why don't we just, whatever scene we were planning, let's just make it a scene where he goes to bed. And so for me, like that moment not only felt really disturbing and kind of rapey, I felt like it was really out of character for Bond because, I mean, whatever. Maybe I romanticize Bond, more than he actually is, but I never get the feeling that he's like forcing himself on people. And right. in this movie, he definitely did, and I felt like that was weird for me. And so there's that. The last thing I want to say, really, that I think is a big negative. Is something I didn't think I would say, and it's this: I think I'm done with Daniel Craig as James Bond. Daniel Craig has been one of my favorite Bonds, simply because he's different, he's modern, it's fine, but in this film, it seems like Daniel doesn't want to be there. And so in the scenes where he's supposed to be charming and, seduce a woman, it comes off more as himself like forcing himself on her or just uninterested. And, well, whatever, this is the scene, so I guess I'll do it kind of a thing. Huh. And so there's no charm in his Bond anymore. If you look at Casino Royale, there's like a moment towards the end where he's dealing with Vesper, and he kind of gives her this smirk, this like I love you kind of smirk, and that's the Bond that should be like, that's the seduction part of Bond, right? He's able to, I hate to say seduce these women because that sounds manipulative, but he's a charming guy. It makes sense that women would be drawn to him.
He woos them.
Yeah, exactly. But Daniel Craig seems uninterested in the room with women. And so to me that it's weird then that it still happens. Because the charm is gone. And maybe that's because Daniel's passion is gone, but there's no charm. And really I'm just kind of over the Bond who's like working off the books and not on mission from MI6, because this is like the third or fourth time that Daniel Craig's Bond has done something that M has been like, don't do. And he's like, well, I'm doing it anyway. And the great thing about Bond, and one of the things that I think drew me to the character initially, was that Bond is sold out. Not, it's easy to peg him as selfish, but I think Bond is actually fairly selfless because he's sold out to king and country, right? Or queen and country in this case. He is doing what he does out of a huge sense of patriotism and, what's for the greater good, right? And although that's never explicitly said, you just get this like honor side of Bond, right? Daniel Craig is not, but traditionally Bond is, a commander in the Royal Navy. I mean, he is completely patriot. And there's none of that here when he's working, off the books. He's continually a thorn in M's side. He's continually like a problem child. And to me that worked in Casino Royale because he just became a 00. It works even in some of the other films because, you know, it's life or death stakes and it's very personal, like with Silva or whatever. And because kind of M goes on that mission with him. But here, and I don't remember much about Quantum of Solace, but here, it just never feels right. He's never, like, there's never a scene where M says, "Good evening, Mr. Bond. Here's your mission." You know, there's never like, "Let me impart to you what Her Majesty needs from you." And so I feel like that's missing. So for the reason of the charm is gone and the passion seems lacking, and we're getting to the territory where this doesn't feel like James Bond anymore, and he's done enough that it should, it's bothering me. You know, that's like, you know, say what you will about Man of Steel. I know people have problems with Man of Steel, but I can kind of let a lot of things pass in Man of Steel because he's not Superman yet. You know, Man of Steel happens when Clark has been Superman for all of, like, you know, one day. So I can let a lot of things slide on that. But if after 4 films I still feel like Henry Cavill isn't Superman, there's a problem, and I would be done. And I think that's where I am with Daniel Craig's Bond. So overall, here's how I would rate Spectre. I'm still going to buy Spectre because I own all of the Bond movies. So it will be added to my collection. But it's going to suffer the same fate that I think Quantum of Solace will, in that I'm probably not going to watch it much. I don't think I've watched Quantum of Solace since I bought it. But Spectre, I probably will watch again, but it'll be a little while. The opening sequence is phenomenal. I mean, if that were like a short film that they just put out, like, you know, every year, like a Bond short film, like that would be enough to get you so stoked on the next Bond film. Like it's a phenomenal little piece. But, you know, so there are great pieces to this film. The last little bit of the film is really good. When all of these story threads are coming together. But the first 3/4 of this film is just like, you know, you're spoon feeding me exposition, things that I don't even buy. The characters don't have passion, or the actors don't have passion. The characters don't have charm. I can't get behind this film. And so even though the last, you know, 30 minutes or so are great, it doesn't make up for the rest of the film, which is admittedly boring. Mm-hmm. And although there's some cool moments like, oh yeah, that's, you know, inspired by From Russia with Love, at the end, after a couple days after you've seen it, you're like, wow, that's kind of lazy actually. Like in the theater, when you're watching the movie, you're like, oh yeah, cool. But afterwards you're like, man, I kind of have seen all of this before. And it was done with more charm. Like Sean Connery, there did come a time where Sean Connery was over the character as well, and Roger Moore. But you know, I just feel like this is definitely Daniel's time to hang up the tuxedo jacket and call it quits. So I look forward to the future of the James Bond series because I really, really would love for somebody to tackle the traditional, you know, very suave, very, you know, sophisticated Bond. Here's a case in point, and then I'm done. In this film, you see Bond's apartment, where he lives, his flat, and it's barely decorated. There's, you know, like one chair and just some junk on the floor. And Moneypenny asks him, like, "Did you just move in?" And he says, "No." You know, and so that's sort of the joke, right? Well, so there's 2 ways to approach the James Bond character, and that's one of them. But I'm ready for the other Bond, where if Moneypenny comes over to his flat, it's like super decorated, like, you know, he's got his medals on the wall, he's got, you know, like jazz music playing, everything so clean and crisp and suave, and he's like offering her a vodka martini. You know what I mean? Like that to me is 2 different James Bonds, and they're both acceptable. But I want to get back to that suave, you know, James Bond that isn't a problem child. It isn't like having all of these inner turmoil, like angsty issues. And yeah, because I think there's different ways to give him character development than just making him angsty. So, you know, that yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll take my time checking out Spectre, but yeah, I still do want to see it. And that your review is essentially what the vibe I'm getting from most people I hear talk about it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, I wouldn't say no, don't check it out. I would just say like if you really want to see it in theaters, fine, go ahead, but see a matinee. Or if it wouldn't be the end of the world to wait for it on Redbox and check it out there, because I think it's interesting and it has some cool things. But there's a fight scene in this film that's like brutal, man. Like it'll get you excited. And I know some of the things that you respond to, Hoop. So I think you'll really dig some of this stuff. There's a tracking shot in this film that I think will really kind of, you know, get your blood pressure up. So I think,
all right.
Yeah, I think there's plenty in the film that you'll enjoy, but you know, it's not enough to say like, let me go spend $12 on it.
Well, let me ask you a question,
Sure.
real quick, while we're still on this topic.
Yeah.
I was talking to people at work lately about, and I partially have your answer because you said you're kind of done with Daniel Craig as Bond. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've ever asked you who you think was the best Bond, or your favorite Bond, or the character or the actor you felt best portrayed James Bond. Yeah, I'm assuming Sean Connery for you, to be honest.
I love Sean Connery. If you pressure me, Sean's my favorite. He's the original. He's the one that kind of set the bar for everybody that came after. And he certainly had no absence of charm. Like, he was always, you know, right on point. But that's if you pressure me. Most of the time, what I'm going to say, if you say, who's your favorite Bond, I would say all the Bonds. Because I think they all are different interpretations of the character, and they all are able to highlight something unique that is inherent in the character and bring it to life in a new and cool way. So if Sean Connery is the traditional, you know, commander, you know, patriot, suave ladies man, then you've got like your Lazenby, who is just sort of a younger version of that, but maybe a little more like playboyish, right? He's a little more into women than he is to, I don't know, serving his country. Mm-hmm. And then you have Roger Moore, who is great because to me, he probably looks the most like Bond. If I picture Bond, I'm probably going to picture Roger Moore. And he gave more of the superhero vibe than any of the other Bonds. And then you've got Timothy Dalton, who was the rough, violent Bond before Daniel Craig. Mm-hmm. And I like that. And then you've got the Pierce Brosnan, who was somehow able to be charismatic and charming, even though most of his material was bland and boring or mm-hmm. over the top and weird. So he was the most charming. And then you've got your Daniel Craig, who is, you know, the Jason Bourne of the Bonds, right? He's violent. He's very selfish and whatnot. And all of these are characteristics that are inherent in the character of James Bond. So to me, if you were able to take one person and blend all of those things together, you'd have your penultimate Bond. But penultimate's not the right word. The best Bond. But mm-hmm. But I can see merit in all of them, and I do like all of them. But if you pressure me, I'm going to have to say Sean Connery, because he's just he's almost like, I guess to say, how do I want to say this? He's almost like the Christopher Reeve of the Bond films in that every Bond will be measured by Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Every Bond will be compared to Sean Connery. And every Bond will be lesser than Sean Connery because of nostalgia. So that, to me is sort of the best way to describe it. But I do like Sean Connery.
See, for me, it's I do what I normally do, which is I measure. I haven't seen all or most of the Bond films. I haven't even. I don't believe I've seen a single Roger Moore or George Lazenby movie. I think I saw a little bit of Roger Moore, and I really didn't like what I saw, to be honest. And so I have an interesting. I have an interesting point. Listen to me. I have a. Jesus. I try not to be narcissistic, but it seriously is my subconscious going, yes, you are.
I'm going to aggrandize this comment.
So I think that it's like you said with Christopher Reeve. They're going to measure them all against the original. And so for me, it's just like, well, who's the best Superman? Well, I like Henry Cavill so far but that's not necessarily anyone else's fault. It's just that nowadays we're able to make Superman in a way that
we weren't before.
That is most satisfying to the character of Superman and his abilities. I'm sure that if Sean Connery was that age today and making these films, he'd probably be like the best one because he's probably the best cast, in my opinion, for James Bond.
Yeah. Even though he's not super like posh British, which is the way he was written.
That's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing. That's how he's written. But so if he was around today, he'd be learning the choreography. He'd be doing all like the parkour stuff too, or whatever of James Bond, and I would be completely satisfied. So if you're asking me like, well, which of the of all the Bonds, whose movies would I rather watch? It's like, well, Daniel Craig. But those are also made within my lifetime. They're made to match my sensibilities for film and to match what I realistically expect of a secret agent. So so my answer is Sean Connery and Daniel Craig, but it's probably Sean Connery just because I have to grade him on a scale because I can't just give Daniel Craig a bunch of points because he's the current Bond and he has the most brutal fight scenes. That's just the kind of stuff I respond to. I approach it. And I feel like there's a fundamental difference because my coworkers both said, my friend Ethan said he liked Roger Moore the best. Yeah. And he said, I just picture Bond as like the real smooth, suave, charming guy. And I said, I picture him the opposite. I said, you picture Bond as a proper young man who already knew, who was already, really, articulate, and learned combat and weapons training and espionage. I picture Bond as essentially what would have been another statistic in terms of crime and juvenile delinquency. I picture a kid who essentially was rescued by MI6 in terms of it gave him direction as a troubled youth. I pictured him as a guy who had zero charm, but was incredibly adept and tough at being in a physical situation, and he was trained to be a spy and taught etiquette and how to mix a drink and how to talk to women and how to talk to dignitaries. Yeah. And as a guy who figured like, okay, it's not in my nature to do all these things, but while I'm at it, I'm going to have sex with some women because now I know how to talk to them. I picture a guy who struck out a lot at bars and he got drunk and got in a lot of bar fights. And then you train him to be a spy. What's he going to do? Well, he's going to have sex with lots of ladies. He's going to have expensive drinks. He's going to get in some fights, but he's going to do it with a badge, basically. Sure. And that's how I picture James Bond. So that's why I respond more to the Sean Connery, Daniel Craig, because I don't picture a pretty boy who got taught how to throw a punch. I picture a brawler who was taught etiquette and manners.
See, And I'm sort of in the middle because I do picture like a guy who was rescued, but a guy who had a natural charm that even though he may not be, to me, in my mind, the best of everything, he had so much charm that he kept getting promoted. He kept moving up. He kept like being given opportunities because he just knew how to talk and knew how to walk and knew how to display confidence, even though to me it's all an act. His suave mannerisms, the way that he beds the women, the way that he does this, the way that he takes his drink, the way that he, knows everything. I mean, those older films, M would be like, oh, yes, I'm working on, a butterfly exhibit. And Bond is like, let me tell you about the scientific genus and species of all of these butterflies. And it's like, there's no reason for him to know that. It's just like, it's all an act. He's given
guys,
himself.
I really like butterflies, guys. Okay, all right. It's not weird at all. I like butterflies. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. It's all, to me. It's all an act because deep down somewhere he is a kid who lost everything and is so afraid of losing anything else that he can't be himself because he might lose what's important to him. That's why he's goes detached. On all this. Yeah, to me, that's why he can't stay loyal to a woman, is because he doesn't want to be loyal to a woman, because if he loses her, then it's going to hurt again. And this is a Bond who doesn't want to hurt ever again. So to me, if Bond has a superpower, it's that he always defeats any villain that comes his way. In any fight, he'll always win. But I think, to me, it's not because he's the better fighter or because he's even the greatest fighter. It's because he's smart and he knows how to protect himself. And so to me, I don't picture a brawler as much as I picture somebody who's just smart enough to, and maybe it's a little, Deus Ex Machina, but, to pick up a handy, chain and hit somebody with it, or a vase, or I'm just going to use anything that I can find around here to throw at you because, I can't, I don't know. I don't know that I'm the best fighter between the two of us. And so, maybe that's the difference. Like, I don't know, but I'm definitely in the middle because I do want him to have some sort of fighting abilities. I don't want him to just be like very suave and like talk his way out of everything. But I do picture a guy who's suave enough to have been afforded opportunities that a boy in his position would never have been given if he wasn't able to either manipulate or just sweet talk everybody. And,
I guess it's a lot simpler for me because I was just like, I looked at all the other Bonds as kind of like pansies, like Nancy boys.
Sure.
And Sean Connery is just a man, and like you said, he's not even like properly English or anything. He's a Scottish brute,
right.
But all I saw was him just, after he got done, having a stiff drink and pleasuring a woman, he would, straighten his tie, go out and be like, "Oh, Ambassador, how are you?" And like just sort of put it like just like that. Yeah, and I just thought, okay, that's what I like.
Right, exactly. Like, remember, Sean Connery was the guy who would walk in and like throw his jacket without looking, and it would land perfectly on the coat rack.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's perfect at everything. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's what I want. Like, Daniel Craig is great. He's a brawler and he's tough and brutal, but I want somebody who can flip that switch and become super gentlemanly. So if he was in the room or in a room with the Queen, she would never know that he gets his hands dirty. Mm-hmm. She wouldn't even have a clue. Like, that's the Bond that I want. And with Daniel Craig, I don't think there's a way for him to flip that switch and stand next to the Queen and her not be like, yeah, I don't know that I want to spend any time with you.
Get away from me.
Right. So yeah, I just want that Bond who would stand next to the Queen and look just like super dashing next to her and just be like, yes, ma'am, I'll, whatever you want, I'll do, I'm yours, all of this stuff, send me wherever, I don't care, and, yeah.
Well, while we're talking about a Sam Mendes movie, let's talk about another Sam Mendes film.
Let's do it.
Which is the one I saw. And this is also happens to be a retro review.
What?
Stop.
Extra.
Stop. God. You old lady. Okay, so I saw for the first time American Beauty. Have you seen this? You must have seen this.
I have not.
Oh my God.
I have not seen this.
Yeah, okay, well, so this is a 1999 film Good year for movies. Directed by our good friend Sam Mendes here.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about this movie?
Very
Except for the
little.
rose petals?
Very little. That's about it.
I never watched this because I just thought with the whole rose petal thing, I was like, that's some stupid romantic movie. It's not that at all. This movie stars Kevin Spacey, and Annette Bening and Thora Birch, Allison Janney, Peter Gallagher, Mia Suvari, Wes Bentley, and Chris Cooper. And it is about basically a man, Kevin Spacey, and the other characters too. But Kevin Spacey is the main character, and he has a midlife crisis, basically. One of the things involves he starts sort of lusting after his daughter's friend, who's a big slut, and she's seriously entertaining the idea of sleeping with him, and he's married to Annette Bening, who's a really materialistic, appearance obsessed realtor, who has no real grasp of like things that actually matter, or so it's one of those films, a lot of films that came out in 1999, like Fight Club, that was essentially trying to push the idea of nonconformism. But it's really interesting because it's sad. Oh, and Office Space also, by the way, too, where it had the same sort of vibe as that, where one day Kevin Spacey just decides, I'm going to quit my job. He works for like an ad agency or something, and they're making everyone write down like these self-assessments of why are you an asset to the company. He's just like, this is stupid. And one day he just snaps, he writes something, and they try to fire him. He blackmails him into giving him like 2 years severance or something because he has dirt on someone misappropriating corporate funds for hookers. And so that's happening. His wife's having a crisis too because she wants to feel and be important. And his daughter, what I'm reading on Wikipedia, which is, again, I can do a review without this, but there's a whole bunch of really strong themes in here. And the two of them that I agree with the most that they list here are the imprisonment and redemption ideas, where he's trying to escape the confines of his job and his daughter's really trying to escape the confines of their home, and the kid next door is trying to escape from underneath the rule of his father, Chris Cooper, who's a real type A, really restrictive Marine guy who makes his son take a drug test every week. His son, who successfully sells lots of weed, and also creepily makes lots of videos, just of stuff. By the way, Wes Bentley is one of the creepiest looking dudes you could have cast to be the guy who's filming a girl getting undressed from next door.
Yeah, he's pretty creepy.
Yeah. And Annette Bening, I don't know if I guess I just never noticed or never really cared to notice. I mean, she looks maybe not now in this picture on Wikipedia, but in this movie, like, I don't know what it is with me and these like middle-aged actresses lately, but Annette Bening is a fox. I mean, she's a great actress and she's fantastic. Everyone's great in this movie, especially Kevin Spacey. Riding all those lows and highs that you can see him do. He can play like a really depressed dude and also like an extremely liberated, like, I don't give a shit anymore guy. And it's really satisfying to watch his character just sort of gradually stop giving a shit through this film. Yeah, this is a great movie. I don't know why I never saw it before, but now I'm just like, this is fantastic. This won Best Picture in 1999. Best Director, Best Actor for Kevin Spacey, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Cinematography. Awesome. A lot of critical praise, and it really does deserve it. And then the first act, maybe I was sitting here thinking like, I don't know why this is such a great movie, because that's when that's when they're establishing everyone. And then the last two acts are great because everyone starts acting out. And it all, just like a good episode of any comedy or any show really, but it all comes to a head at the end. Everyone's little stories comes to basically one conflict at the end. And I just thought that's good writing. If you can make characters this interesting and behave in ways that are this believable, because a lot of times when you write characters, you really do just have to let them make the choices they would make and hope hope that all their choices at the end make sense as something you're trying to say. Like I always thought, like, you can get caught up in the theme or the ending you want to do, or you can organically let the characters play out and hope you accomplish your theme through their actions. But you don't want to like make them make unrealistic choices just to fit into a box at the end. So this does both, where you've got them making, choices I consider to be, at least make sense, or, okay, they're doing this, and at the end it all just comes to a head, and they do it in a way that's well written, well acted, and well shot, and interesting, and kind of defies expectations. And I just thought it was a really good movie. So awesome. If you've spent the last 16 years not seeing American Beauty, go check it out.
I'm one of those people. It's not that I have anything against it.
You just never saw it.
Have not seen it.
Yeah, same for me. And now I'm just like, wow. And I like that. I like running across, because you know me, I really don't like watching older movies. I really don't like if it's escaped me for more than 2 or 3 years, I'm usually kind of like, all right, well, I'll never see it. Right. Not the case. So I think it's going to be my mantra from now on that, like, if you're about to watch a movie and you're not quite sure about how it's gonna come out, or how you think you'll enjoy it, if it was made 1998 or 99, it's probably really good.
Right.
It probably is. Just those are the odds. Like, that was one of the best years in movies in recent years. Yeah. I think a lot of people would argue the best year for movies of the 90s, of the whole decade. Oh, probably. Yeah, sure. Yeah, American Beauty, great film.
Awesome.
And me, lately I feel like I've just been crapping on everything I see. I'm just like, this is boring, this doesn't do a good job, and I'm kind of losing hope. But I like to think, Dustin, I'm actually having how lately I've just been really put out with film and Hollywood? Yeah. I'm starting to be able to separate it. I'm starting to be able to, like, it's I don't know how you would there's plenty of analogies to, like, cooking or something, but I've essentially thrown the movie industry into a pot, and I've somehow been able to extract this tiny bit of art, meaningful art, out of it, and throw out the rest of it that I don't want, that isn't good for me. Right. And so I'm doing this. It's actually very personal too. Like, I'm doing this in a lot of areas of my life, but particularly with film, where I'm able to sort of go, okay, like, I'm finding this little pocket of, like, I guess what you would call human emotion, back into the viewing of the movies and TV I like to watch. Yeah. Whereas I've sort of been really, really closed off to connecting with anything I've been watching for a while. Like, I still would rather watch the Marvel properties more than anything right now. That hasn't changed. But I'm able to appreciate things. But I also feel like American Beauty wasn't preaching something dumb to me. So maybe it's just that this movie's that good and that subtle, and that I didn't feel like it was an intrusion. That also didn't exist as much before the movies today, like, a soapbox. But I don't know. Like, the other night or last night, I watched a scene. I don't know if you remember this scene in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'm sure you've seen it before. There's a scene where now this is completely different from American Beauty. We're done talking about American Beauty. This is there's a scene in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I guess the episode was Will's dad comes back, but he's going to leave again or whatever. So Phil has a big talk with the guy, and he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to go. You tell him I'll leave or whatever. And Will comes back and says, hey, Dad, before he leaves, and his dad leaves again. And the little graphic I'd read that inspired me to go Google the scene was that Will was just supposed to shake it off or whatever, and that's what was scripted. But because of his own father leaving him, he actually had he ad-libbed a completely different way to do the scene, and it was way more emotional. But then other people are claiming that's not true, like that was what was scripted, so I have no idea. Regardless, the scene plays out with Will going like, no, that's fine, I got by without him, and he's going more and more angry and sad throughout the scene, and then James Avery, Uncle Phil, is just standing there reacting to it. And at the end of the scene, like it will, he starts to cry and he just says, "How come you don't want me, man?" And he just breaks down and Phil walks over and hugs him and you can hear people in the audience crying.
Yeah.
And I wept.
Oh.
And I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't do that. When I watch things. And I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I'm bringing this up at all, but it makes me a little hopeful because I'm I'm not out yet. Like I'm still.
Right.
Oh, I didn't mean to sound like that. I'm not. Oh dear. Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my God.
I love this podcast.
Yes. I just thought, oh, okay, there's hope for me. Like I'm not a machine yet. I still have, an amygdala and I still have the ability to feel. That's a good scene though.
It is.
It's really emotional. So yeah. And the whole time I was thinking like, man, how'd whoever was editing it, how'd they know to like, oh, let's go ahead and dissolve to that little statue that Will bought his dad where it's the father holding his son. And I was just like, oh God. It was nuts. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to a couple more things before we get out of here. Sorry for derailing that. I guess I maybe felt it was important to establish to viewers that I do have positive reactions to films. It's not going to be me angry. Yeah. Anyway, did you see the Civil War trailer?
I did.
Okay, because I feel like this dropped last night, Tuesday night. John asked me how it was because he said he's not going to watch it. He wants to live vicariously through me. He said, "So did you like it?" I just thought, no matter what I say, you can't truly experience what I saw.
Buck, do you remember me?
Your mom's name was Sarah. You used to wear newspapers in your shoes.
You're a wanted man.
I don't do that anymore.
Well, the people who think you did are coming right now. They're not planning on taking you alive.
Captain, while a great many people see you as a hero, there are some who'd prefer the word vigilante. You've operated with unlimited power and no supervision. That's something the world can no longer tolerate.
I know how much Bucky means to you. Stay out of this one. Please. You'll only make this worse.
You saying you'll arrest me?
How did you feel about it? Do you like it?
I did.
Yeah, I always watch these because I have to know what everything is going to look like and what the general tone's going to be. But I really liked everything looked solid to me, and I thought it was I thought the whole like he's my friend and Tony's like so was I. Like I thought that was a really interesting angle because obviously Tony has. I don't know if people feel like he's not it's not realistic that he would suddenly be an antagonist to Captain America, but what it looks like, but it's like, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Throughout the whole movies of everyone, he's probably the most irritated with Captain America. They're in terms of personalities, they're the two most different people on the team.
Right.
The old fashioned dude, the Greatest Generation guy, and like the dismissive techie asshole. Like they're completely different. And even Joss Whedon in the commentary, and probably elsewhere too, for Age of Ultron, when he was trying to figure out like the whole Spectre thing at the beginning, he just said it was just made clear to me through the writing of this movie, Tony's the villain. Like he said that. He said, Tony is the villain. Like he doesn't mean to be, but no good villain knows they're the villain, basically.
Right.
And while Tony is a hero in his own right, I mean his actions have caused everything in this movie. taking the scepter and all that. So it's completely believable to me, and always has been, that Tony would be, obviously with also the way they're going with like his guilt and his need to be accountable. Not suddenly, but gradually, his prioritizing accountability for the Avengers more than anything makes complete sense to put him in opposition with Captain America. I don't trust anybody, and this is and just adding Bucky into the mix of like, it seems like a lot of it begins at least with they want to prosecute, imprison, kill something. The Winter Soldier, who now is no longer the Winter Soldier. Like, he's good now. Like, he snapped out of it. He's my friend. And for Tony to be sort of not leading the witch hunt, but part of it. And I think they did a really good job of not just...
Scarlet Witch Hunt?
They did a good job of it not seeming just like this cartoonish, like, yeah, come here, Captain America. Like, no, you'll never catch me. It's... I really liked the whole, like, that line in the trailer is important. The whole, I'm sorry, Tony. I wouldn't do this if I had any other choice, but he's my friend. And Tony's whole like thing about being like, not, I wouldn't say like he's hurt, but like, yo, like we fought together, like we bled together, like what? I just thought it was a great trailer. I'm really excited because I've been waiting for months to see anything about this movie because I knew it was shooting. And I was just excited. I was like, I want them to put something out because I want to see what they got. So,
like any good crack addict.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want a trailer.
What did you agree?
No, I agree because, the issue for me with the whole thing that's made me apprehensive, and I guess I'll probably enter the movie a little apprehensive just because I don't want them to villainize any of the characters because we're going to have to continue to root for them after this film. So that's always been an issue. But the fact is, this trailer seemed to make it clear that they're not looking to villainize Tony, and they're not looking to villainize Steve. That it's all a matter of perspective.
I felt sorry for Tony. Like I came out of the trailer feeling sorry for him.
I did too, and Steve too, because here's a guy who's just trying to protect someone that needs protecting, and that's supposed to be what a hero is, what a hero does, and what a friend does. And so they're both just living out their convictions, and it just so happens at this moment that those convictions are at odds.
They're in direct opposition.
Right. So
I got the feeling in the trailer that like Tony felt if there's any sort of feeling to attach to what's happening with him, I think he feels like, what the hell? All my friends no one's on my team. Like he suddenly feels abandoned by the people who are supposed to be his friends.
Exactly. So yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's good for me because, it didn't feel like you said, like, man, you'll never catch me. And it wasn't Tony being like, dude, I hate you now because you did a thing that I disagree with. It just seems like we're all kind of hurt and we're all to this point where we just have to do what we have to do.
Circumstances are forcing our hand in every direction.
Exactly.
Tony's sort of just feel like I really don't have much other choice, and Captain America's kind of like, neither do I. I mean, it's a real. It sort of is like I don't want to piss people off by comparing it to Heat, but it really is that scene. It's like, look, I'm at a certain point, I'm not going to have a choice, and the other guy goes, "Yep, me neither. I respect you, blah blah, but we're clearly on opposite ends of this issue, and I just want you to know that when it comes down to it, I'm not going to hesitate." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, me neither."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I liked the trailer a lot. And I liked how much of it was spent, the trailer anyway, with Steve and with
Sam Wilson.
Yeah, Sam Wilson and with Bucky and that sort of core group of Captain America characters, I think is really that's been my other issue, is that I want this to still be a Captain America movie.
And, not another Avengers movie.
Right, and those three characters, and maybe Natasha equals, the Captain America core group of
I consider her in the Captain America group.
I
mean,
do
it's
too.
weird because she started in the Iron Man camp, but now she's pretty solidly associated with Captain America.
Captain America. Yeah,
Which is pretty
I consider her
interesting.
with Captain America too. So,
And by the way, no one really gives her credit for that. Like,
This is true.
I feel like we either talk about how terrible the world is because Black Widow is marginalized, or we make fun of her because she has no significance. But I'm just like, she's the only one who jumped into someone who became a character in someone else's run of films. Like, she's, I don't know. That's just,
Yeah.
I feel like that's significant somehow.
No, I agree. And I'm excited for it. I think it'll be really cool.
She's got the long hair again. What
She
is it
does.
with the hair fluctuation? I don't like the long
don't-
hair. Bring back the little short crimped hair. Doesn't make sense.
I like the long hair, but
At least it's kind of curly this time. Not like curly, but it looks like, she did something to it. She didn't straighten
Yeah.
it. I really hated the
Right.
straight long hair in Winter Soldier.
I
It really
gotcha.
bothered me. It's a perfect
gotcha.
movie otherwise, but
yeah. I'll say it like this: the hair doesn't really bother me, but I don't know. I guess just from I don't know. For some reason, it looks more super heroic-y. I don't know. Anyway, the long hair does. I don't know. Whatever. But the point is, I enjoyed the trailer a lot. Now, I may be with John, and I may not watch anything beyond this, but I did want to see this and just at least kind of see what they're thinking. And, so I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed seeing General Ross back. And
Thunderbolt.
Yeah, Thunderbolt. And I liked that it didn't feel like it was like just chock full of Avengers characters. Like in this trailer, you do see some of the other characters, but it's not like you're seeing, Ant-Man and Thor and, you know what I mean? So I think
Right.
that was a good choice. So even though we know they're in the film at some point.
yeah. Well,
Is Thor in the movie?
I don't know. I would
don't
think
know.
that he's honestly. I would not that I'd feel better, but he doesn't have to be there in my opinion because I feel like
Right.
if he's going to be off doing his thing, he's going to be a little bit busy in the
Sure.
other realms. So I'm completely fine with him. I just see him either not caring about this conflict, like I'm just going to sit this one out. Like I do not want to get in the middle of this. Well, I don't know if I see him sitting out if he sees it coming, but I picture him honestly. I picture him at the beginning of the film talking about how he's going to go off like something's wrong. But I feel like he already did. He do that at the end of Ultron? Did he say anything about because I feel like his whole thing at the end of Ultron was I'm going to figure out these Infinity Stones things.
And that
Like
was it,
I think there will be a casual mention of the fact that he's off investigating that to explain why he's not there without having to show it. Because then if you show him leaving, it's like, why didn't you leave at the end of the last movie? Why are you leaving in this movie?
Right.
I'm confused.
Although I'm pretty sure Hulk's not going to be in the film.
No, I don't think he is either.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was in like a bunch of drafts, and then I think he just got cut at the very end, like before they started shooting, like where there's not really room, and he probably thought, okay,
Yeah.
I'm Mark Ruffalo. I'll go off and make another really good film while you guys are doing that.
Right. Exactly.
No, I agree. I think it's important that you keep this, and they really did do a good job. I mean, if the trailer is an indicator of the focus of the movie and not just a way to sort of appease people like you and me, they did a really good job of framing who the story is about and who basically everyone's role in the film pretty quickly and what it's about. Like it was a well done trailer in terms of what a trailer should deliver. Some visuals, some brief setup, who's good, who's on what side, and what's basically going on.
Right.
And I thought, you saw other characters like Scarlet Witch and Black Panther, but there's no scene with her, Scarlet Witch, by herself, kind of going like, oh, I need to do that. Like nothing implying that we're going to spend time with her by herself.
Right.
Like she'll be there and she'll be a supporting character, but she'll be a supporting player, and that's the most important thing. Like I'll say this over and over again. I mean, people compare. Someone said once, "Breaking Bad is the best movie on television." Mm-hmm. I think the MCU, and the MCU to me is the best television show in theaters.
It's probably the only.
Shut up, Dustin.
Sorry. Sorry to rain on your parade.
But you know what I mean? It's just like, it is, I don't, and we've talked about this before, I don't view them as films anymore. I view them as episodes of just a larger story. Sure. And I feel like that was the way, that was probably what Kevin Feige wanted. He wanted them to be viewed as issues in a comic series. Mm-hmm. And I immensely enjoy these. Like, usually I'm the person who's going like, well, let's see how everything shakes out in the end. You know, we're done when we're done, or we'll sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Like, you know, I'll, you know, this is a good sandwich, but who knows? You know, I'm the guy who I don't really like to. I don't stop and smell the flowers often because I'm always focused on what's next. But with these movies, I really do stop and just go, "This is great, isn't it?" I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do that with many areas of life because I always feel like there's the other waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't like to stop and enjoy because I'm waiting for like, all right, well, what's the catch? But for me, it's like the catch is that they're making lots of money, but I'm okay with that. Like, I really do enjoy these movies a lot, and they're one of the few things that get me this excited.
There will be consequences.
Captain, you seem a little defensive. Well, it's been a long day. If we can't accept limitations, we're no better than bad guys. That's not the way I see it. Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect teeth. I just want to make sure we consider all our options. Because people that shoot at you usually wind up shooting at me, too.
You know what's about to happen. Do you really want to punch your way out of this?
What do we do?
We fight. Sorry, Tony. You know I wouldn't do this if I had any other choice. But he's my friend. So was I.
Real quick, in theaters now, Victor Frankenstein with James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe.
D-Rad?
Don't know much about it, so I don't know.
Me neither.
Probably cool, maybe not. I don't care.
I think it's written by Max Landis.
Okay, well that bumps it up a little bit in my book. I like Max Landis.
Yeah.
The Good Dinosaur for all you Pixar peeps.
Yep.
And I'm not going to see any of these, but the one I would be most likely to see if I had money for the theaters was I would go see Creed, starring Michael B. Jordan.
Now Creed I'm really looking forward to, and you guys will hear a review from me fairly soon. I've gotten my girlfriend to watch Rocky 1, and we're working on... I wanted to watch all of them except for 5.
Skip 5, yeah.
Yeah, but I think what we're going to do instead is just watch 2 and 4. And I will fill her in on what happened in 3 and in Balboa. Because, you know, I'm sure stuff will come up. But, you know...
Not as important to the relationship between these two characters in particular.
Right. I'll just kind of skim over it because... Although I hate to skip 3, though, because 3 is the one where really Rocky and Apollo kind of form a bond.
I wouldn't skip 3, to be honest. I would just watch them all.
Yeah, because, I mean, the only thing about 6 is if you say, like, well, where's Adrian? And 6 explains that. And the thing about 3 is, like I said, it explores their bond because of Mick's death. And then you have to watch 4 because that's where Apollo dies, and that will be directly referenced in the film. So
I think you should watch 1 through 4, and then if it's been too long, it's just like, okay, we can skip Balboa for the purposes of being prepped for this movie, but we should show her Balboa. But if it's like, oh god, it's been like 3 weeks, let's go ahead and go see Creed, you know.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. See, we started Rocky, but we just haven't had time to keep going because, you know, I don't know, our schedules are so crazy, especially around the holidays. So we're trying to get through them. But you're right, I do need to show her 3. I hadn't. Yeah, I do need to.
I would.
Yeah. So, just maybe we'll cover this with Creed, but just real quickly, which is your favorite of the Rocky movies?
Ooh, not one. I'll go ahead and say not one.
Okay.
It's a fine film, but I mean, it's really slow. It's really freaking slow, and it's great and it's necessary to all the films. But I think I can't remember which one it is. It might have been. It's either either 2 or 3. It's probably 3 or 4, honestly. And the reason I hate 5 so much is because they really do a good job of showing like Rocky's progressively increased education level. Because in the first film, he's like illiterate. He's stupid. He's slow.
Yeah.
Heart of gold though.
Yeah.
But as he accumulates more wealth or more success, he like starts reading and he starts speaking clearer, and he's teaching his kid like words and gets more articulate, which I like. I can't remember which one I liked. I do like 3. I liked him getting faster and fighting Clubber Lang, and so I really do like them all. I like 1 the least, and I guess not 2 because 2 is just fine. But he fights Apollo again. Yeah. So maybe 3.
I gotcha. I like them all for different reasons, sort of like the Bond thing. But I think I like 4 just for the sheer like thrill of it, because like there's nothing else like seeing him, get beat and be beaten and beat and be beaten by Ivan Drago. I mean that's just a rough fight. Yeah. But and then the thrill of it at the end is like, oh snap. And you can't forget the training in the Alps. I mean, it's just awesome.
See, maybe I like 3 because they do that really homoerotic sprint on the beach into the waves.
Yeah,
where they become best friends in that one scene. They're just like
they've got their short shorts on,
literally
and
just like 2 bulky muscle bound men with their glistening abs frolicking in the waves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey woman. Hey woman.
Hey woman.
All right, well, that's what's in theaters now, and that's going to do it for this episode of the HooperCast. Next week, Dustin, I think I'll be all set with it. I don't know about you, but I really would like to talk about Jessica Jones.
Okay. I have not started it yet, but I plan to.
Okay. All right, well, that's what I want to do next.
Okay.
I've you don't have to do this, but I've dropped everything, and I'm only watching Jessica Jones right now.
Gotcha.
I'm behind on the Muppets. And I'll be behind on a few shows. I am officially quitting The Walking Dead.
Are you?
Because I'm 4 or 5 episodes behind at this point, however many it's been since the Morgan episode, and every time I hear someone say, "Oh, did you see The Walking Dead last night?" Like, yeah, I haven't heard anything good. Like, what I heard about this past week is just like, oh, it wasn't that great. It kind of sucked. And I was like, okay, so I haven't missed anything since.
Right.
That's one reason I'd already chosen.
They did finally reveal the cliffhanger.
Is he alive?
I don't want to say.
Oh, just tell me.
Yeah.
Of course he is. Was he... Hold on. I need to find out. Was he kidnapped/rescued by dudes?
From what I can tell, just from reading a brief recap, I think what happened was he had Nicholas landed on top of him, as we suspected. He is able to push Nicholas off of him and roll under the dumpster. And I think
there's no room under dumpsters.
Yeah, and then I think he waits there until the zombies all roam off.
Oh, please! That's such garbage.
At least that's what it sounded like in the review. So
no, well, I don't mean that. I meant that logic is garbage.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so, that's stupid. Yeah. Whatever.
Yep.
And they teased that for 3-4 weeks to find out what happened to him.
Yep. And the answer was he rolled.
That's so fucking stupid.
Yep.
All right, well, good riddance. And another reason I'm stopped is because we are cutting the cord. We're not going to do any more cable.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, cutting the cord, so I won't be able to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
We got my parents to give us their Uverse code so we can watch some things online.
Sure.
So I'll still be keeping up with the Muppets and Agent Carter, but
right.
no Walking Dead. No more Walking Dead for me, or Fear the Walking Dead. I've lost patience with those people. So.
Yep.
But yeah, I've stopped everything and I've been watching Jessica Jones, and I'm like 9 episodes into the 13, and I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome.
Hopefully, by the time this drops, I'll probably be finished.
Awesome.
And Dustin, I think you'll like it. I'm not going to explain the reasons why I think you'll like it, but I think you will find it more satisfactory than other Marvel things for a reason that you can probably guess. Since I'm talking about you specifically and your thoughts on Marvel things.
Is it the villain?
Oh yeah, I think you will find this villain
villainous,
a better villain for a hero than other villains have been.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, all right. Well, that's gonna do it. So, thanks for listening, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.